Hello, my name is Allison.
I'm Becca.
And I'm Fiona, and we're the clinical therapists that make up the Phoenix Youth and Family Therapy team. Since COVID-19 was announced as a global pandemic, and as public spaces began to close, and as people were asked to shelter at home, it's been a sometimes overwhelming and quite scary time for many of us. Many of the people that we're privileged to work with faced heavy challenges even before COVID-19, and far too often they were challenges related to systemic issues like discrimination, like poverty, like lack of housing, food insecurity. And all of these were amplified when the pandemic hit. Our team has been working really hard to find meaningful and creative ways to be there for the youth and families that we work with. And we know that our relationships are foundational to everything that we do. So we're trying to find ways to stay closely connected and doing our very best to try to help address some obstacles to meet even some very basic needs.
Hi, my name's Jesse Thompson, and I'm a community outreach worker with Phoenix Youth and Community Center in Mulgrave Park, also known as PYCC. When things started to shut down due to COVID-19, it was our center's focus to connect with youth, families, and community residents to ensure that everyone was healthy and safe. Our team was able to gather different resources such as gift cards, cleaning supplies, food kits, and connect community residents with different government fundings that were rolling out, such as CERB and EI. At PYCC, we really value the relationships that we've been able to develop in the community, and we wanted to continue to build on those relationships. We also wanted to let folks know that we were going to be here even though things were closing around them. But it was really amazing to see the community of Mulgrave Park come together because, as you know, they're a strong, resilient community because it very much feels like a family at the center, and that has to do with the community that we're in.
I'm Katie. I'm the coordinator of LEAP, or Learn and Explore at Phoenix. We modified the way we work to follow public health protocols while continuing to provide essential services. But for many youth, Phoenix is home. We have 5 residential spaces that needed to continue to run. Many of our community program staff are experienced in residential service delivery, myself included. We took on shifts in the residential spaces to offer support there. All staff were adapting to the changing needs. We've always been collaborative, but this was even bigger. I also took on grocery shopping for the shelter, a position I held from 2012 to 2015. Being back in this role, I was able to connect with youth in a true Nova Scotian style, in the kitchen.
Hi, I'm Alana. I'm an outreach worker with Phoenix.
Hi, my name is Mary Ann, and I'm an intensive case manager with Phoenix Center for Youth. PCFY is a drop-in center that, before the pandemic, saw up to 40 youth every day. They dropped in for case management support, referrals, health services, food, laundry, clothing, and household items. Some people enjoyed popping by for snacks, social time, and to have a safe and supportive place to simply be. When we had to close our physical space for the safety of our youth, we had to rethink how we provided these services to ensure that needs would continue to be met. We've always connected with youth virtually through social media, email, and by phone and text, but that is now our primary way to stay in touch and allows us to check in. During the pandemic, PCFY has become sort of a hub for collecting all the items that we need. Feed Nova Scotia, for example, drops by 4 times a week, which helps stock the food boxes that we deliver every day.
As an outreach worker, I'm used to being on the roads most days. I provide case management right in the youth's communities, much like Mary Ann, as well as navigate them to services that are in their own communities. Adapting to the pandemic required us to get a bit creative, so Mary Ann and I decided to team up. We're on the road daily, delivering food boxes, essential items, and gift cards to youth and their families, as well as still providing all of the phone support to navigate youth to resources. Just because we're in a pandemic, it didn't change all of the barriers that have brought youth to Phoenix in the first place. They still existed and youth still needed help.
So we've always held dual roles as both therapists and clinical consultants to the agency as whole, providing guidance and support to other programs on an as-needed basis. We also offer training workshops and a 7-week-long learning series for staff. As we've adjusted to working remotely, we've balanced our clinical work with the important roles that social workers play in not only helping people cope with difficult circumstances, but also helping them access necessary resources and supports. At the beginning of the pandemic, a bunch of new social programs and financial relief options were popping up. And the complexity of this changing landscape, combined with the stress that can come from financial uncertainty, compelled us to start gathering resource information to share with our clients and the agency as a whole. Being able to direct folks appropriately to help get their basic needs met was one of the first things that we knew had to be addressed.
When it comes to our clinical work, we've been so fortunate to be able to continue to offer therapy services to our youth and families over the phone or through video calls. We're so impressed with our youth and families who are already up against such significant challenges pre-pandemic. And then with COVID, what was already hard is now doubly hard. And to this end, in addition to resource provision, much of our work done during this time has been normalizing that what everybody's feeling makes sense under the circumstances. We've often heard youth say things like, why am I so sad or not motivated or irritable and frustrated and angry? Why am I crying over nothing? We've had parents who are concerned about their kids' well-being and that they are feeling the tension in their home rise. We talk a lot about what is absolutely normal to feel in this unusual time. We say, of course you're feeling these things. Look what you're having to deal with on top of existing challenges. And inside of this pandemic, we've all endured a mass shooting, and we have all been witnessing the terrible ugliness of systemic racism laid bare, which has activated your past and current trauma. So is it any wonder that you're feeling sad or angry or frustrated or weepy and scared? This is what makes you a wonderful and complex and compassionate human. We also talk a lot with our youth and parents about trying to find meaning in this. How can staying home and being careful contribute to the greater good? How to find ways to be okay with the thoughts and the feelings within this new stillness.
At PYCC, we focus on the community of Mulgrave Park as a whole. Our team was able to create a community check-in list, which we met about daily, to discuss needs identified by the community, as well as how our team was best going to support those needs. At PYCC, our flyer has always been the best way of getting information out about our supports and services, and even in the pandemic, we were still able to get the flyer out. We practiced social distancing, wore masks and gloves, and followed regulations that came out through the agency as well as the government to ensure that community residents as well as staff were safe. In addition to our weekly veggie drops and food box deliveries, we were able to partner with Sackville's Jesse's Pizza and do pizza kits for the community. Due to COVID-19, the Lebanese festival was canceled, and their organization committee was able to donate 2,000 hot meals throughout HRM. PYCC was lucky enough to be included in that, and we were able to get some of these hot meals out to the community, which they were able to enjoy.
Hi everyone, my name is Doug Coldwell, and I'm the academic coach with Phoenix Youth and Community Center located in the north end of Halifax in Mulgrave Park. During this past school year, I had roughly 65 youth on my caseload, ranging from junior high aged youth from Highland Park and Oxford schools, Citadel High School youth, as well as post-secondary students. Recognizing the privilege that I benefited from as being a white male, I make conscious efforts to use my privilege in the advocacy work with youth. Prior to COVID-19, you could find me 3 days a week at Citadel High School, offering academic supports to our high school students connected to Phoenix Youth programs. The remaining 2 days a week, I was at Phoenix Youth and Community Center in Mulgrave Park, offering academic supports through one-on-one sessions, as well as running our tutoring program with my coworker and team lead of Phoenix Youth and Community Center, Tricia Mercer. In April, we created an online Google Classroom to support and engage our youth in academics. 30 hours per week were devoted to students who required additional academic support as we pushed through the unprecedented times of COVID-19. By having our youth connected with me virtually, we were able to share assignments, questions, make edits on homework, and they were successful for the remaining of this academic school year.
Hi, I'm Janelle. I'm an employment counselor at Phoenix Learning and Employment Center, also known as PLEC. When it comes to employment and education, COVID-19 was disruptive for everyone. While much of Nova Scotia came to a halt, for many of our youth, their work continued and in some cases became more challenging. Colleges, universities, and high schools made the switch to online learning, which meant that youth now needed access to personal computers and reliable internet in order to complete their semesters. It's also quite an adjustment moving from in-class to online learning, as you can imagine. This is also a really busy time for youth planning to attend post-secondary in the fall, as youth are planning on applying for scholarships, preparing student loan applications, and registering for their courses as well. To address these needs, Plex shared information on how to access government benefits and supported youth with their applications to CERB, CESB, and EI. We also continued offering free income tax returns remotely, and the Plex team rallied to gather computers for youth who needed them for work or school purposes. We also assisted youth with their rights around healthy and safe workplaces and continued supportive counseling around youth's career and employment choices.
While the province is beginning to open up and restrictions are starting to relax, the impacts and challenges this pandemic has created are long-lasting. The unknowns make it difficult to plan programming, but we're up to the challenge. Our volunteers are also missing working with our youth, so they've stepped up and created some virtual activities. A bonus to this work is that youth can participate when they want instead of a set time that might not work for everyone. And we will be able to share a lot with the greater community. We're looking forward to taking our online learning around Halifax this summer too. Yoga in the park, paint nights by the lake, the possibilities are endless.
Summer programming plans have also been disrupted at Phoenix Youth and Community Center in Mulgrave Park, and we've been working on how we can take our activities online. We have one team creating youth activities and another team with the adult community programming. Last week, we ran our first ever online Zoom bingo, which we had over 30 participants. Within the coming weeks, we will do things such as online scavenger hunts, as well as we will be doing community kitchens, and chicken soup will be on the menu. As Katie said, there's a lot of unknowns, but one thing's for certain is that Phoenix is here for our youth, families, and communities that we serve. A highlight of this is seeing the creativity and tenacity of my colleagues as we work together to find ways to offer supports and services.
So true, Doug. The youth and staff have kept each other's spirits high during this time. I even heard rumors of a possible staff versus youth basketball game happening soon. Thanks for listening to our stories on what we've been up to in the community. Take care of each other, be kind, and stay safe.